Yeah, and in like I said, well, certainly with me, it was the musical aspect. That's how I was first introduced to him. It was a soundbite in a music clip. But yeah, to be honest, I prefer his off the cuff stuff where he's just being asked questions, whether it's audience participation or whichever. But yeah, I mean his approach to this minefield that is not only just understanding one's own mind, but this minefield of information that seems to exist when one goes into trance and one goes into altered state. And it is a minefield of information. It's as though one can pluck information out of the air almost through the connections that one makes. The conscious connections that one makes, and he's able to verbalize it in such a great way that one is able to understand. And so yeah, this is what I like about it. So yeah, so what does boundary dissolution mean for you, Ashes? What does boundary dissolution? Do you identify with that term? That's one of the terms he mentioned. Or Rolling Stone. Where's Rick? Rick's always good for this kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play the next clip now. Another couple of short clips to not so heavy this time. But yeah. So guys, if you're Rolling and Ashes, calm down for a moment while I play this clip. That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know because I didn't hear nobody mention it or anything, and I mean I know people. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it, but I had to.
He's also done some work on the I Ching.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, he's come to similar timeline conclusions with regards to the same Mayan timeline that seems to converge on a similar date as the Mayans. I'm not sure exactly what date he has. What calendar date? But he has done some work on the I Ching.
Yeah, I'm thinking he put a whole lot of those things together and came up with Time Wave Zero, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, the reason I didn't mention it is it's pretty much the culmination of his work and at the end of his work, and I figured we'd go chronological in the discussion and save that to the end. But most people right now probably know him for Time Wave Zero because we're getting to that point on the time wave, to the advanced, complex novel event or transcendence or whatever it's going to be. That clip that we just played, Wingman, you should post that link to that particular one. I like that one. He really advocated personal experience as being, what you should go on as far as taking people's words from the overstructure of this is this and that is that. And that's something that I've always really taken to heart. Personal experience is what you should base any, firm beliefs you have in your head. And he didn't even really like the idea of beliefs. He always used the term models because models are easier to change than beliefs. Beliefs is, a very rigid concept.
Yeah, and one of the things I picked up on there, he says, not trust ideology, which I wouldn't discussing a little bit more, and go for experience. I think I don't know what you guys think, but let me ask what do you think? What he meant by do not trust ideology? I think he's coming from with that respect.
Well, it's loaded. Ideology throughout history has gotten us into trouble in a stubborn kind of way. The ideology of science, he always took issue with science as an overstructure. He always liked to point out that René Descartes, the father of what we would consider modern science, the reason he took on the task of creating what we know as science now is because he was in an army laying siege to some Habsburg family. They were just roaming around laying siege to things, is what they did back then. And he was in Yun, which I think is the birthplace of Albert Einstein, and he was visited by an angel, and the angel told him that the conquest and understanding of nature would be done through measurement and observation. And all the scientists and science, it's almost like a priesthood now, and nobody can challenge science. It's almost, you'll be burned as a witch for heresy if you try to go against the grain. You certainly won't have a career in it. And Terence was fully aware of that because of his situation, and his brother walks the line of legitimate pharmaceuticals and shamanism.
Yeah, I noticed his brother's kind of brains a little bit. Difficult to fill the shoes of Terence, no doubt. Yeah, so this one of the things I take from the biology aspect. I guess to some extent, when we're born into this world, we take for granted the world, kind of almost embrace it without question. I think that's perhaps what he was getting at, is need to not think that the reality around biology is around necessarily it. Facto, way it should be, or the certainly to embrace. And I understand what he's saying. Embrace the moment, embrace the experience. For the experience.
And also, he sometimes referred to culture as, a form of ideology, and his favorite saying was, culture is not your friend. Culture is an operating system, and you're right, when you're born into it, you don't know any better, and this is the way the world is. First thing you should understand on your path to, waking up is that everybody doesn't hold the same worldview as you. Everybody's worldview is different. Just the way they see and understand the world from person to person is drastically different, and from culture to culture is even, more. And to be a shaman, in Terence's opinion, you would have to be extra environmental, always alien in your own environment, and be able to take a step back and look at things from a wider perspective.
Yeah, in fact, I'm downloading Culture is what was it? Culture is, I think you did one on Culture is your operating system. That was quite a good one. Do you remember that one, Nico? I'm getting that one now. I thought I had it already, but yeah, I mean, to some extent, it's funny, but through education, we're not really taught how to think along these lines. We're not really taught how to, understand that, how to even change culture for the purposes of kind of encouraging experience and things like this, and that's a shame, that would be nice to see more and more understand that it's up to the individual as to what they want to do and what they want to experience consciously, and if that means taking certain hallucinogens, then surely that's down to the individual. And this is what he's been pushing for a long time, because I think he realised that psychoactive type plants and things, including cannabis, did facilitate the growth process and the reconnection or the connection with reality around us, or the greater reality. And I respect him for that.
Well, it's not only the drug or quote unquote thing that was his whole bag. One of the other things that he advocated was to not consume culture and to create culture through media, and to be your own producer. And I think one of your earlier clips referred to that. And I see that happening with the advent of YouTube, and people being able to not only just upload home videos and funny videos of their cat and somebody getting kicked in the balls and whatnot, but now people are doing creating their own show, creating their whole aesthetic, bracketing out, a beginning, middle, and end with segments, and just one kid in a basement can do his own. If he is passionate about a certain topic, he can do his own, show with episodes and have feedback and have an audience, and that is amazing. And I always bring the McKenna conversation back to the internet and the communication level we've reached with our technology and smartphones and stuff, which is one thing we have like a one-up on McKenna, because he died before he saw what the internet could be, and the people he hung out with are the people who brought us like Google Earth and VRML and things of that nature. But he died before it really came to fruition on a scale where everybody's interacting on a global scale rather instantaneously. And so I always bring it back to that when we talk about this, because it's a sign of, he was right about a lot of stuff.